Good afternoon. I'm Michel Vanbrabant, the CEO of iSTAR Medical, and it's a pleasure to be at OIS Virtual for the presentation of our activities. iSTAR is a VC-backed company which focuses on the MIG segment, and its lead product is called Miniject. It demonstrated best-in-class performance in clinical trials. Miniject is actually made of an anti-fibrotic medical-grade material, which is very different from existing mixed technologies. The company has regulatory plans to obtain CE mark at the end of this year and FDA clearance in 2025. In terms of financing, we completed last year in July a 40 million financing round with lead investors including LSP, Early Bird, BNP Paribas, and GIM. Our board of directors is extremely experienced, including experts in ophthalmology, obviously, and so is the management team. But here, I'd like to spend a few moments thanking our scientific and clinical advisors, starting with Dr. Ike Ahmed, Dr. Stephen Volz, Dr. Brian Flowers, but also on this side of the ocean, Dr. Garcia, Fia, and Denny, for the incredible support that they've given us throughout the preclinical and clinical stages of the company. So Miniject is made of an anti-fibrotic medical-grade silicone, but of course it comes as a preloaded injector. Here, you can see the handle, which connects to a protected sheath where the implant has been preloaded. The implant is 5 mm long and it's extremely soft and conforming to the eye anatomy. Inside, it is 100% made of a matrix of interconnected pores, unlike other devices made of a single lumen. It has a green ring, which helps the surgeon to implant to the right implantation depth, which, as we know, is extremely important for mixed devices with regards to the endothelial cell density loss of the cornea. A wheel located at the top of the handle activates the deployment of the implant, and the surgical steps are actually relatively standard, with a 2 mm incision in the cornea using a gonio lens and targeting the scleral spur. Then the device can be advanced into the supraciliary space up until aligning the green ring with the onset of tissues. At this time, activating the wheel retracts the sheath and allows the implant to stay in the exact desired position. In terms of preclinical data, and this just got published by BMC Biomedical Engineering, the very unique thing about this material is that there is a certain level of biocolonization taking place, meaning the cells from the sclera and the choroid do migrate inside the porous structure. This is happening up to 1 month post-implantation in this rabbit study. And thereafter, it shows to be completely stable from 1 to 6 months with no further cell migration. So this results in a certain level of space being occupied by those healthy cells that have migrated, but of course, it leaves enough space for drainage to occur. And this is, we believe, the secret for an excellent tolerability of this implant. In particular, if you look at the picture at the bottom right, you can see that the transition between the sclera and the implant is really extremely clean. And we believe this is the key driver for durability of results over time. Moving on to say a word about the clinical trials now. I'm going to disclose results from STAR 1 and STAR 2. STAR 1 was conducted in Panama and India, 25 patients. We got the 2 years results just published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology, and STAR 2 conducted in Germany, France, and Spain, for which the 6-month results have also been recently published in the Journal of Glaucoma. I'd like to emphasize that all of these trials have been performed in the standalone glaucoma setting with no concomitant cataract surgery. So for the first time at OIS, very happy to show the pooled data from STAR 1 and STAR 2 together, 54 patients, starting with an IOP of 23.9 medicated. And please note that there was no washout in this particular study design. At 6 months, we consistently saw a high IOP reduction with a mean at -40% down to 14.5 mm of mercury. Likewise, the meds were reduced from 2.4 at baseline to 0.7 at follow-up, which is highly statistically significant, and 70% of the patients were medication-free at 6 months. Now, of course, 6 months is a limited follow-up time, but we have previously shown from the STAR1 study only, this time 25 patients, that those results are actually extremely stable over time. Here, as you can see, there is this great stability of IOP from 14.2 at 6 months to 13.8 at 2 years out. This represents a 41% reduction compared to baseline, and again, a good number, half of the patients, were medication-free at follow-up. Now, a few important data on safety. One of the most important one is actually that only 5% of these pooled patients had to undergo a secondary surgery. Really a very low number. But also equally important, the occurrence of hypotony was low, with 1.3%, and the IOP spikes just at 5%. So this is extremely important for us. And to quote one of our investigators, the data available so far suggests that Miniject works effectively and may help prevent risk and improve overall patient management compared to other surgical treatments. On the ECD side, at 6 months, on 90 patients, the mean ECD loss was only 2%, and at 2 years, these are the STAR1 patients, only 5%. And I'd like to underline also that the safety threshold, meaning the loss of ECD of more than 30%, was actually not observed in any of our patients. So with that, I'd like to conclude. Miniject is powerful and allows to provide a sustained performance over time. The implant is entirely made of anti-fibrotic material and is soft and conforms to the eye tissues. The procedure is safe and predictable. It's very intuitive to implant. And last but not least, the supraciliary space offers a procedure with no bled, therefore reducing the post-operative patient management. Our path to market include a CE mark, as I already mentioned, for which we filed actually earlier this year, and an extension of indication to the combination with cataract surgery planned for 2022. While in the US, we're about to file our IDE study to the FDA for an estimated market approval in 2025. I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to take questions.